Hello and welcome to the Growing Green podcast. Your host, Jeremiah Jennings, is the owner of Growing Green Landscapes in Birmingham, Alabama, and has a passion for growing the entrepreneurship community for those who are young in business. Being a business owner isn't easy, especially in the early years, and that's why in this show we dive into a wide range of topics covering all the challenges small business owners deal with. Even if your company is generating $1 million or more, the stories from our great guest and Jeremiah's own firsthand experiences will propel your business forward. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Jennings.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode today here on the Growing Green podcast. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings. And man, I'm excited to be coming to you today with another fresh new episode here for your ears to listen to. Now, I don't know if it's going to be of any value, but we're going to try. We're going to do our best. And if you're a first-time listener to the show, thanks for tuning in. It means a lot that you're here, that you're joining us today. This is a show where we come talk about business, life, and everything in between, and how to run a business, how to be successful in life, how to have a successful marriage, or attempt to at least. And it's just going to be a fun time hanging out today. So if we do have any new people listening in, I am Jeremiah Jennings. We haven't done this in a while, but introduce myself and welcome you to the podcast. You can go all the way back to the beginning to hear our full story. We've gotten some new reviews and stuff in here that I'm actually going to read today and give a little shout out on the show. Thanks for leaving those reviews. We will read those here momentarily. But thanks for tuning in today and joining along with us. Like I said, you can go back to the beginning and check out the full history and story of who I am and how the business got started here, Growing Green Landscapes. And then you can listen to the podcast, man, catch up to where we are real life today. It's been a long journey along the way, a lot of blood, sweat, and literal blood to get here. Some fun stories along the way, and it's just a lot of learning experiences, a lot of ways to build and to learn and to grow off of each other. Love the community that we've built and we've surrounded ourselves with, and we're just continue to grow and get better every day. But without any further ado, let's hop into some ratings and reviews real quick, and then we'll get into the show. All right, so for the first review here that we have, it's from Roach Brothers Lawn Care. Just found your podcast after listening to a few of the other guys at Great Lawn Care. A few of the other great lawn care guys. Another amazing podcast. Took me 2 weeks to get caught up. Thank you for the great content and the time it takes to make this happen. It does take a lot of time, but we really appreciate that. Roach Brothers Lawn Care, thanks for tuning in and joining us. And then another one, Uncle Fodder here is the name of the guy. And it says, if you're listening in, Uncle Fodder, thanks for tuning in and for the support. One of the better podcasts I've heard in a while. Great content. Thank you. Great Topic with Alex was the title of that one. And that was fun. We did a good podcast with Alex a little while ago. I actually need to follow up with him for podcast number 2 there. We're supposed to be doing a part 2, but haven't got that done yet. So thanks for those 2 reviews there. That really means a lot. Reviews and ratings help us get boosted in the algorithm, and it's just social proofing when people click on the show and see 50, and that's 50 actually, so 50 ratings and reviews, and that's pretty good. I mean, for me at least. I know it's not 1,000 like some other guys, but 50 is pretty good. We're getting there, and so just keep leaving those if it helps you at all and you enjoy the content. Leave us one of those, and that really helps. We have 123 podcasts, I think it is. This might be 124. This is going to be 125, and so a whole backlog of podcasts to listen to. If you listen to one a day, you would get to almost half of a year. It would take you almost half a year to get caught up on the podcast. But like I said, thanks for tuning in. If you're new, you can check everything out there, and it means a lot that you're joining us. But what I wanted to get into today a little bit, might talk about a few different, it's going to be a range of topics probably, but I want to play a clip here from Kevin O'Leary. Y'all know if you've listened in for any amount of time, I love Kevin O'Leary. I'm a big Kevin O'Leary fan. I could watch Shark Tank 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I love just everything about that show. I learn a lot on it. And it teaches me a lot, and I love seeing people's sales pitches, how confident they are, and it gets me fired up about my business and where we want to go in the future. So I want to play this clip from Kevin O'Leary. He talks about sacrifice in the business, and what the topic I want to talk about today is, what does it take to be a qualified business owner? What does being a qualified business owner mean? Because that's something I've thought about, like, does it mean you have a diploma? Does it mean you have a high school education? What does it mean? Does it mean you're 30 plus? You have to be in business for 20 years and then you become a qualified business owner? Like, what is the definition of that? So we're going to try to get into that a little bit of what I think that is and some things that I think we can help do to get to that point. But this topic right here that Kevin O'Leary talks about is just a good intro to why business what makes a good business owner and what it takes to get to be a good business owner. Just a little clip here. It's about 4 minutes long, so stay tuned, listen to this, and we'll come right on back and dive into some more topics.
I tell people, if you're going to take this road, there's a huge sacrifice that people don't think about. You know, most people think, oh, I'm going to start a company, 2 months later it's going to be worth $1 billion, and I'm going to make a fortune. That is actually not what happens to 99% of people. 8 out of 10 fail. They have to do it 3 times. They spend a decade before they get their hit, or they work at one company for 15 years, and they finally get an exit. It's more like that, and the personal sacrifice is huge. There is no soccer game on Saturday. There's no Sunday dinner with the family. You're working because some guy in China or in India or some woman out there is kicking your ass, because we're in a global competition now. And so I don't care what your business is, men, women, you have to understand that you're going into a huge lifestyle change. And I tell people it's not for everybody. Don't do it if you don't have the stamina to get kicked around and driven into the ground and get up and do it again and beaten up by people that tell you, this is not kumbaya stuff, this is hardcore stuff. And I meet many entrepreneurs that are in tears saying, I can't go on, I haven't seen, you know, my significant other in 2 weeks. It happened to me in a class. I mean, I'm not sure how you're going to take this story, but I'm going to tell it to you anyways, okay? End of a class, 9 at night, 600 people. There's a fellow up at the top, puts up his hand and say, Mr. O'Leary, look, I have to ask you a question. I haven't said anything all class, but I'm really hurting. Can you help me? And I said, what's your problem? Class goes dead silent, because it's not going to be about business. And he said, today, my fiance came to me and said that I have to make a decision between our relationship and the business. And I said, oh, I'm not Dr. Phil here, but let's hear it. This guy had, in his dorm room in undergrad engineering, built an online cloud-based compliance tool for hedge funds with under 250 million to help them reduce their costs. It's a subscription service. The guy had a run rate of $5 million. He hadn't even graduated yet. I'm licking my chops at this business. This is fantastic. And then he said, but I have no time. And I never see my fiancée, and she wants me to come be with the family on Sundays just once. But I'm doing my compliance downloads on Sundays, and I have to deal with my customers because I got to be back in class at 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday. Now the class is looking at me saying, okay, big guy, what's the answer? I said, everybody, let's be pragmatic. Which is easier to replace? Your business or your fiancé? And the shit hit the fan with that. But let me ask you something. Clearly that match was not right, because if you're going to get into a relationship with an entrepreneur, man or woman, it doesn't matter. You have to understand what drives them. It's not going to be a successful union. It's not going to work. I think he made the right decision.
It's interesting that he said because he had to get to class at 8 a.m. I'm thinking, if he already has built this business, why does he need to be in school?
Because he wanted to finish and get his ring. And engineers in their 4th year want the ring.
Okay.
They have worked like, there must be some engineers in this room. They know what that's about. That puts you into a cult for the rest of your life. You don't leave without the ring. Like, that's not going to happen. Not in your 4th year. And I get it now because I work with a lot of engineers, but I remember that, and it stuck in my mind, and I think we really debated that about relationships and how important it is for your partner to understand the journey you're in.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that clip. That was one that is really heartfelt, I think, from him. It means a lot, and Kevin is just a really smart guy. Like, I don't know, that was just, he was doing a speech for somebody somewhere. He speaks all the time, but I can watch his videos all day long. And what he's talking about there is the sacrifice that the business takes. And if you listen in there, then the story he told about the guy and the girl in college, and his fiance broke up with him, or his fiance said, you have to use me at the business. And he didn't know what to do. He was giving it his all. He was worth like $5 million already or something like that, something crazy. because he was working his butt off. He was creating this thing for the hedge fund owners and just being really productive in his life. He was way ahead of where he should have been in college. He was doing very, very well. But in that, he sacrificed his relationship with his fiance, and he wasn't able to go to family dinners. He wasn't able to be with them on Sundays. He wasn't able to spend the time with her that she felt like she needed. And Kevin just said there, like he said he was going to probably offend some of you, and it was funny to me, but it probably did offend a lot of people. And if you're listening, you're probably thinking, what is this dude doing playing that? Like, what is he telling me to break up with my fiance? It's not what I'm saying at all. But Kevin said, what's easier to replace, your fiance or your business? And everybody laughed. It was funny. But it really makes me think, like, what does it take to be a business owner and to be a qualified business owner? Because the things that happen and the things that go on in business ownership and being an entrepreneur are not for the faint of heart. Like, it's not for the weary, the weak, the ones that just cry over anything if they get their head bumped. Like, it's not for you. I'm sorry. If you're not able to handle a little bit of if you're not able to have some tough skin, then I don't know how you're going to fare in this world. But what he was talking about, so I don't know. There's a lot of different angles that this could be looked at and discussed. I could discuss it for hours probably if we really got into it. But today I want to talk just a little bit about the marriage thing of what he said. Since we do Marriage Monday, this isn't going to be a Marriage Monday episode, but I wanted to at least hit on what he said there. And what he said made really good sense. He was like, if she's not willing to accept that as like that's who he is as an entrepreneur, then they're not a good fit anyway. And that's what I think you have to realize is maybe you're out there and you're tuning in, you're listening to the show today, and you and your girlfriend just broke up, or you're on the edge of breaking up, or your relationship's just not healthy, like it's not where it needs to be, but you don't have peace about it. Like you want to stay with her, you want to stay in the business. What do you do? I think what he said there is it's very simple and it's kind of harsh to the point, but is he right? Think about it for a minute. Let it sink into your situation. Is he right? And everybody has a different opinion on it, I'm sure. And there has to be a work-life balance and all of that goes into it. But I think ultimately you have to find somebody who knows and appreciates what you're doing and is going to be along for the long ride and what it's going to take to get to that point. And I just don't think she was there. I don't think that she was ready to go along with him for that ride. And if you're in the beginning stages of business, which I think that we have a pretty good amount of guys who are, but then some of us who are around my LinkedIn business, like 3, 4, 5 years, and then even longer than that, you've gone through so many trials that, like, there's probably so many you can't even remember them. But was your wife, was your spouse with you the whole time, by your side the whole way? I know that's the way it's been for me, and I haven't even had any major trials. Like, Savannah stuck with me in all the little things. I know she will in the big things, and we'll probably face something like that. I mean, my hand, that was a pretty big thing. Cutting my fingers off, essentially, was a pretty big deal. But she stuck with me. She supported me. We got back to work, and we pushed through and kept on going. But that's something that you need to think about when you're in these beginning stages of, like, dating and where do you want that relationship to go. And I know this isn't qualified business owner talk right now. Where I want to go with that is you got to get that stuff figured out first, because I think everybody out there listening, the majority of people want to have a spouse. They want to have a family, maybe not have a family, but want to have a spouse, want to have somebody to spend their life with. And that's when we ask on the show, what is your why? My spouse and my family are 95% of the answers all the time, unless the person is single. And even then, it's probably like to get to a wife and family and things like that. So if you don't have that, I'm not saying you're terrible or you're bad, but I'm just saying that's the majority of the people out there. That's what they want. So back in the beginning, in the foundations of your business, you got to think about that when you're looking for your future spouse, wife or husband. Then you got to think about, are they going to come along and be a part of what I want to do? So now that that's aside, the marriage talk, I just wanted to talk about that after that clip. But the sacrifice thing is just crazy. Crazy how much sacrifice goes into business. And we could probably, like I said, do a whole episode on it. But being a qualified business owner, what does that mean to you? To me, I don't know. I'm still working on my definition of a qualified business owner. To me, I think it means somebody who has the heart and the hustle and the want to and the willpower to withstand tough times, the compassion to give when they have the funds to give back, or even when they don't have the funds to give back, they still give. That would even be even better, because I think as a business owner, you're held to a higher standard, in my opinion. I feel like I'm held to a higher standard than some other people out there because maybe I make a little bit more money than some other people do, or you make more money than other people do that your friends, and you're called to a higher standard of that. You need to be smart with your money. You need to be diligent. You need to give back. So compassionate is one. Caring, that's caring, compassion. I guess that's kind of intertwined there. And these are just things I'm racking off the top of my head. But my point in this is, when do we become qualified? Do you become qualified in year 10 or year 20 or in the very beginning are you qualified? And I don't know what that means or what that entails for you. But for me, I feel like I'm becoming more qualified each and every day. I think it's a process to me. All of those things I stated a minute ago, those are things that I'm working towards. I'm not there. I probably won't be there for years to come. And truth be told, I'll probably never get there totally. I'll never be perfectly compassionate or perfectly have the perfect will or the want to. Somebody who's pretty close to perfect with the whole will and want to thing and willpower, Nick Carlson. If you haven't listened to that podcast, go back 2, 3, 4 episodes ago, whatever it was. Listen to that episode. Top 5 episodes that we've ever done, maybe the best episode we've ever done. Very well received. Nick is just an awesome guy. He's so smart, so diligent, and he proves what it's like to have willpower and the want to in your business. You can take it, and he is a qualified business owner, in my opinion. But I know there's a lot of young guys in the lawn care business, and I'm not just saying lawn care here. If there's somebody listening now who's starting another business or outside of the lawn care business, I know we have people outside of the industry that listen to the show. Being a business owner is just across the board. Like all of sacrifice, it takes sacrifice whether you're mowing grass, detailing cars, renting your car out on Turo, buying and flipping houses. Like you're all doing stuff. Like you're running your own business, and there's sacrifice along the way. There's so much sacrifice along the way. There's a lot of heartache. There's a lot of challenges, okay, that come. Challenges with money, with finances, with relationships. It's like we said. Where do you find that line between yourself and your spouse? How do you deal with that? How do you cope? That's something that is prominent to me, and I want to look at it and think, hey, as me and Savannah further our marriage and have children and really grow, I want to be the best husband that I can be. And to me, being a husband and a father is way more important than being a business owner. My business will go to crap for Savannah and Jack any day of the week. Like that's already determined. But it's because I know Savannah is the right person for me, and she's going to stand by me no matter what. All the time, she's going to stand by me. So the thing with owning the business and the sacrifices and things like that, being a qualified business owner to me means you're striving, you're working. It's a never-ending process to be better. And it almost goes into like being a better human. I mean, I want to be a better human, but as I run my business, I want to get better. Me and Alex, I think, talked about this. I don't know if we were recording or not, but we were talking about like, you have to be careful what you say about growing your business, because even you don't have to grow your business like in scale of like numbers, like more clients or more trucks or more employees. You don't have to do that necessarily all the time, but you have to be always growing your business and making it better. And I think a qualified business owner knows that and figures out ways to do that. Because if you don't figure those out, then like your business is going backwards. So to me, you should always be striving to know your numbers better. You should always be striving to make your team better, your team atmosphere, turn more profit. Okay, obviously that goes back to knowing your numbers. All those things that go along with like running your business, we should be striving to make those better. Not necessarily growing the business, like I said, with employees or anything like that, but just always trying to better the business and make it more profitable and then a good team atmosphere. And there's so many more things we can get into, but not going to get into it today. You must have a vision to be a qualified business owner, I think, as well. Because if you don't have a vision for your business, then I don't think it's going to go anywhere, unfortunately. You have to know where you want to be, and then you work backwards from that. So you figure out, this is where I want to be in 10 years. Let's do that. Let's get to the point where we're going to get there. What are we going to do to get there? So you find that point, and you work backwards. And it's something that I have to work on all the time of vision casting. I've talked about that on the show before. And I know this is kind of an all-over-the-place podcast. I'm sorry if you're still listening, then thanks for tuning in. But because I'm kind of rambling here. This is just stuff that runs through my head as I'm on the mower today. We had a super long day of mowing. And, man, we worked late today. We worked later than I ever – not later than I ever have, but later than we have in a long time for sure. We're battling rain, and we'll get into that later. But strong vision and vision casting, and you have to be. And I think you should in vision casting, you should have a community of people around you, and that kind of goes back to the podcast here of like. Could the podcast be called a business? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really generate revenue, but it's a side hustle. It's outside of the lawn care business for sure. Different money, things like that. So even with this, I've created a community with the podcast there, and I think that you must have a community in your business. So maybe it's lawn care social media or green industry things, GIE, Entrepreneur Academy, things like that. Along with your vision, get around a community that helps you build that vision. And along with building the vision, you just got to figure out, like, where do we want to be? And we said we got to get to where you want to be and work your way backwards, but you got to figure that out first. Where do we want to be? And so I think you always have to be trying to adapt and learn new things along the way, because if you don't learn new things along the way, you're gonna get left. Sorry, buddy. Just like the whole robotic mower thing in the green industry of, are robotics going to take over? Are they going to be mowing the big fields? How are we going to do that? And I know some people have talked about installing them and installing mowers and seeing if that works, the robotic mowers. So say somebody buys them, you can get paid to go in and install them. That's a new way. It's a new way. You're adapting. You're changing your business to where we are in the times that we're in. So vision casting, a community around you for sure. You need to get to all these events. Equip is coming up. And we'll probably do an episode on that of what the plan is for myself and things like that. Want to meet everybody and hang out for sure. But it's going to be a crazy couple of days. Like I said, Jack's going to be here. I don't know what our schedule is going to look like. I don't know if they're going to make the trip or not. I don't think they are because no kids allowed in this year, which I don't agree with at all. But I don't make the rules. So. Build a community. We've talked about community before. These are all things that we've talked about before. Just a refresher. I know it's kind of tough. If you get down on yourself, this is where I get the whole idea of qualified business owner, because I know there's guys out there who think, man, I'm not cut out for this, or I'm not good enough. We're not making enough money. That's not it. That's not it at all. Like, if you go look at the Bible, and I don't even know if I should get into this because I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not qualified enough to talk about this, but I've sat in messages long enough to hear in my life that I know a little bit about it. In the New Testament, people struggle with their salvation all the time, assurance of salvation. And one of the passages that pastors will take you to, mentors will take you to, is in the New Testament. I don't remember. I think maybe it's 2 Timothy or maybe 2 John. I don't remember. But it's a passage where God is talking, Jesus is talking about, what do you want in your life? Like, are you wanting to do the right things? Because even if you fail, if you're failing, if you're striving to do the right things, though, then, because that's the common question with salvation is like, well, I'm trying, but I fail every time. I keep falling to that sin. I keep getting into that rut. I can't. It's so hard to get out of, but I don't want to do that. I want to do the right things. I'm striving to get out of that. But when you do that sin, you're like, well, am I even really saved? Like, can I be saved and do this sin? That's what people say all the time. So when people are worried about assurance of their salvation, they go to this passage, they walk through these verses, and they're talking about the whole thing of like, what does your heart want? What is your actions striving towards? Like, are you wanting? Can people tell you want to get better? You want to learn? You want to grow? Crazy analogy there. But what I'm comparing that to is in business. Like, if you're failing, if you're not making money, if you're getting down on yourself, do you want to start? Do you want to run that business? Do you want to grow? Do you want to get your numbers better? Do you want to build that community? Do you want to have the hustle? Do you want to stay up late and do the stuff that takes to go into? Do you want to change the blades when you don't want to? Do you want to grease the machines? Do you want to get out early and warm them up? Do you want to go out and figure out a way to make $1? If those are the things that you really want in your heart, then that alone, I think you're working towards being a qualified business owner. And that's something that I think there's somebody out there listening that's struggling with that right now. I just have that on my heart of someone's listening and they're in the place where I don't know if I can keep going. It's the middle of the summer. It's really hot. It's terrible. We're not making as much money as we need to make. How are we going to do this? Well, man, they make this your sign. This podcast has been all over the place. The last 3 minutes, hopefully you get something out of it of, if this is for you, if this is what you want, this is what your heart desires, and you're making strides to get here, then, man, do it. Stick to it. But you know what you got to do? You know what you have to do to be a qualified business owner? You have to have that vision. You have to be willing to suffer and go through the sacrifices. You have to have that community around you. Because if you don't have those things, you will fail. You cannot do it alone. I'm sorry, you can't. I've tried doing it alone. It doesn't work. And even a community being around you could be an employee, somebody that you could discuss things with, another business owner in your community, somebody on Instagram, somebody that you can FaceTime, somebody you can email with, whatever it may be to you. Find somebody that you can talk to and not just try to be in it by yourself, and you're not going to get anywhere that way. I'm sorry. But if that's the things you want, if that's the things your heart desires, you're really trying, you want to go after it, then, man, I think you are a qualified business owner. I think you're working towards that. And do we ever become totally qualified? I don't know. Do we ever reach all of these things fully? I don't know. I don't think so. But we do what we can. I think a 16-year-old kid that didn't go to high school can be a qualified business owner if they want to do all these things and they put the steps in place to get there and the resources. One thing that I think a qualified business owner needs as well, super random, but I think it's something that you should all be working towards, is being a reader. And reading doesn't have to be sitting there with a book in front of you, listening to audiobooks. Man, I'm telling you, I've talked about this before. How to Infringe and Influence People changed my life. Totally changed my mindset about the way I think about things, the way I look at people, the way I think about conversations that I have. I look back over the last 10 years of my life and I think, wow, I wish I could have that back so I could act totally different. And I still fail. I still mess up. I still fall to the ways that book talks about, of how to get people to not like you. Like, I'm a very argumentative person. I'm a very, I want to be right. Sorry, you're wrong. I'm right. And I'll prove my point to you. And it's just like I have totally having to reshape my mindset. And so that one book alone has changed so much. I think you should be a reader. Get it in your ears or in front of your eyes, one of the two. Read something or listen to a podcast. I don't know. Podcasts are good. Books are different, though. I think you should be trying to get some books in front of you and do some good reading and some good knowledge building and building that brain, building that wealth of knowledge back there to give back to you, give back to the community around you. Because if you don't have anything to give, then you don't want to just take forever. That's something that is also hard. And another thing, gut intelligence, like having a good gut feeling. I think that's something that comes just with a business owner and I think that's what's part of an entrepreneur. I think it's made into an entrepreneur of you just have that feeling of, man, I know this in my gut is right. We're just going to have to chase it. We're going to have to go after it. Having that gut feeling, you're probably going to be wrong sometimes, but I think a lot of the times you're going to be right. And you have to learn how to chase that. You have to do very good of communicating those things as well. So if you have a significant other and you have a goal you want to chase or a vision you want to get to, you got to communicate on how we're going to get there. So especially when it's just a gut feeling. When it's just a gut feeling and you don't really have numbers or something behind you, but you just know in your heart that it's right and it's what you need to be doing, then you really got to communicate. You got to get that across to your spouse, to your friends, to your network of community of people, get some feedback, see what they're thinking as well. So you got to be willing to take the risk along with that gut. So you got to take risk in business, and sometimes those risks are going to bite you in the butt. Sometimes they're going to pay off really well. But I think all millionaires and billionaires took risk in their life, and it was either a lot of them were like, hey, sink or swim. This is it. I either die or I go out on top right here. And so die with nothing, go out on top. And I think a lot of them are going to go out on top. And they've made taken those risks and really has paid off for them. So my voice is getting a little raspy here. Like I said, long day of work out there. We were running from the rain all day long. It was ridiculous. We got rain on 3 or 4 different times, I think, today. Ended up getting a decent amount done. Got a full day of mowing tomorrow, and then we're back to we'll have the weekend off, and then we're back to it on Monday with all of you guys out there. Got a few landscape jobs to get done here soon as well. We finished our biggest saw job we've ever done this week. So small business goals and small business achievements in here is what we're doing. It's so small. We've done such small landscape installs. It was 3 pallets of sod, but it was a total backyard makeover. It was a smaller almost like a cookie cutter neighborhood yard. And so went in and replanted their whole backyard, mulched everything, and then regraded and sodded the backyard as well. So really fun times. It was a really fun project. It took a lot of work, took way longer than it needed to. So this is one of those things we're trying to get better, trying to make the business better. We failed on our hours on that. We had to make 3 separate trips out there when I wanted to do it in one, maybe 2. But a lot of that had to do with sod supplier was taking forever. Couldn't get sod, and a whole long story there. But I hope y'all are doing great and where you're at in business. If you have any questions, if we can ever help you, always reach out. I promise. Like I said, I do my best to get back to you really quickly. I always get back to you though. Get back to you as soon as I can. If like I said, I'm in the mower. I'm on the mower on the field all day, especially now that I'm still going to be out in the field. Like I don't have Ben anymore as a foreman, so he took a good job and got a good career. No hard feelings to him. I'm just saying. Back out in the field every day now, so I'm on the mower a lot more. Hard to reply and get on Instagram as much. But thanks for everybody for the support of the podcast. It's growing. It's catching on. People are loving it. Can't wait to meet up with everybody at Equip. We'll talk about that in a later podcast. So I hope this helped you at some way, shape, or form. I know we were kind of rambling all over the place, but this is me, man. We're just hanging out, having a good time here on the podcast, talking shop, and trying to get a little bit of advice here in there to help you get boosted through this Friday and into your weekend, or whenever it is you're listening. If it's 2 years from now, well, I hope all this stuff can apply to you. But anyway, without any further ado, we're going to wrap this one up, and we look forward to catching up with everybody here on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green podcast. It is an honor to have you listening, and we hope you receive valuable advice to help take your business to the next level. Don't forget to follow the podcast so you'll be notified when our next episode drops.